Hello, and welcome to another episode of How Are You Holding Up, a mental health podcast by the depressed for the depressed. I'm Chris,
And I'm Lindsay.
and the first question I want to ask is, Lindsay, how are you holding up?
I am depressed.
Yes, you are.
How are you holding up, Chris?
I am incapable of feeling depressed because my medication is working almost too well, which is a weird issue in and of itself that I'm trying to work my way through. But, you know.
How does that look for you? So you feel like you should be feeling down, but you're not able to?
Yeah, a little bit. Like, I feel it comes down for me like you should feel like shit, but you don't. Why aren't you
Mm-hmm.
feeling like shit right now? That feels like that's not right. Let's fix that. Let's make you feel like shit. And I'm having an
Mm-hmm.
inner struggle with myself of no, you don't want that, but deep in my mind I do, but I don't. So,
Do you think it's because you're used to being depressed?
yeah, pretty much. I think it's also just the remnants from, you know, my entire last relationship where that was kind of how I was led to feel about myself. But that is an entire episode in and of itself, which
Yeah.
tonight is not that episode.
No. So
Tonight,
tonight
yeah.
we're gonna talk about my depression and
Yeah.
how that's been manifesting for me.
Yeah. Because this has been a while that
I
you've been on kind of an upturn. You'd been doing really well for quite a while, or at least
mm-hmm.
you've been having a really good facade. How long has this been kind of downturning?
I think for me it's hard to say, which is a little frustrating since I run a depression podcast.
No.
I think I think I had smaller symptoms, having difficulty enjoying, like a sort of numbness, a sort of brain fog, a difficulty in remembering things, um, sort of like a brain laziness, I guess, for a while. I would want to say like about maybe a month and a half.
Mhm.
And then this whole COVID-19 thing, I didn't get affected by it. Um, I'm quarantined up in a mountain community where, it's beautiful. I look out and I have a beautiful landscape. I'm very lucky. Um,
I heard you had to chase off a
and
bear today.
I'm, yeah, you're depressed when you chase off a brown bear off your porch and you don't feel adrenaline. You go back to sleep afterwards.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I chased him off because he was getting into stuff that he shouldn't have been getting into, otherwise I would have left him alone. But, anyway, I think being alone with myself and n not being able to go out, seeing the negativity in the news, etcetera, it did start to wear on me,
Mhm.
and, and it came to a head the other day. I filed for unemployment, um because even if I'm working a few hours from home, it's just not, it's like, 3 or 4 here and there. It's not a full 5 days a week kinda situation.
Yeah.
Um, my job's a little funky. It's never like that exactly, but I needed the help, so I figured I'd sign up for it, see if it would, go through. And it took about 4 hours. It's really difficult. I have a lot of different, like, 1099s, W-2s. You have to put in all of your stuff and who you were working for and what you're making, and
Mhm.
proving to them that you are worthy of $200 a week or whatever it is. It's so dehumanizing, and I just felt this overwhelming rage once I'd finished, and I felt like no, I didn't feel good that I had done this huge thing. Like, I should have felt good, and I had noticed that I'd been waking up at 5 AM, and if anyone knows me, I'm not a morning person.
No.
Um, I've never liked I like to sleep in, I like to lounge in bed, and I can't sleep, right? I just can't seem to stay asleep. I've been having nightmares, and, some of you might remember a few months ago, I had a huge, um, I don't know what you'd call it, I guess a falling out where a friend decided a long-term friend who I love very dearly still decided, um, that we were not gonna be friends anymore, and didn't say it in so many words, but basically there was an argument that was not necessarily nasty in any way, just heated, through text messages,
Mhm.
and then, it was decided by that person that they didn't want to reconcile, and it's something that comes in waves, the mourning of a friendship, because I think a lot of us just assume, more than even our romantic relationships, that they'll be there forever. That certain friends, they're gonna be in your life forever, and you love each other no matter what. You've gone through breakups, you've gone through, losses of jobs, new jobs, different friend groups, and some people stay with you for many, many years, and she's been a friend I've had my whole adult life.
Yeah.
So, that came to a head as well, and, I found myself crying really hard, like that gross crying where you, like, are almost throwing up and you're, like, making weird noises. I had to take myself outside to get away from my
Mhm.
partner and just sob, ugly sob out on the porch with, like, snow falling down on my face. I was mad at myself for being so upset because it was so beautiful. Um, and then I realized that I really hated myself. I really found myself disgusting. I found, that everything that anybody had ever said about me felt true at that moment, that and so angry by I feel like disabilities, like the inability to focus, the inability to finish things, the inability to keep the house clean, the inability to connect with my partner, the inability to follow through with my passions that I want so badly, and it just keeps seeming to fall apart and find financial stability and it not working out for whatever reason, one reason or another, unluckiness, not being able to find a job that is sustainable, and I just have so much, um, disgust with myself and frustration, and then embarrassment. Of course, I don't wanna make a post on Facebook about, "Hey guys, I'm depressed and I'm thinking about killing myself," or just, like, walking off into the woods and nobody finding me. I just wanna stop, um, and and it's, like, this obsessive thought, just like, I should just kill myself. I mean, literally, I have a I have a depression that comes back in cycles, and I'm keep finding myself in the same cycle, and it is so frustrating. And, and the fact that I have friends who I consider practically family, who are willing just to feels like on a whim, just end a friendship is debilitating for me. Brings up all kinds of weird issues of abandonment.
Yeah.
And, I've had a trouble with sustaining romantic relationships, I think because I've made poor choices and was dishonest with myself, and also just because I have a hard time sustaining vulnerable emotions with somebody.
Mhm.
And right now I'm over a year with my current partner, who's amazing. And he and I are having a hard time. Well, no, he's being amazing. I'm having a hard time having feelings right now,
Yeah.
of any kind. Like, you sometimes you do the laundry and yeah, it's boring, but at least you accomplish something and you feel a sense of accomplishment. I'm just feeling nothing.
Yeah.
Um, so it's hard to feel romantic.
Of course.
Which makes me feel like a bad partner, which makes me feel shame and guilt and anger and frustration and makes me feel like, God, I don't know if I should be with anybody.
You just feel like a burden, like, yeah, no, I get it. It's not
Yeah,
true.
and it's
It's the ugly
thank you.
brain that is absolutely saying all of this, and it's the
Yeah, and
yeah.
I think it's, when you feel this bad and you just feel so done with yourself, usually the last thing you wanna do is reach out. So, I was I reached out to my sister who had been trying to contact me, and, I let her know what was going on, and I this morning reached out to a kind of mutual friend and just as a joke was like, "Yeah, found depression today, because she was like, what did I do today? I did this and this. And I was like, I scared off a bear of my porch and I found depression. Um, and she actually called me and left me like a 30-second message about how much she loves me and how important I am, even though we're not close. She's like, you are such a strength in my life and you don't even know it. And she texted me a few times. So I ignored her phone call. I ignored her messages for a minute and I was like, Lindsey, this is what you need. You need to talk to somebody. You need to talk to a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So I did. I called her and I cried while she talked at me about how important I've been in her life and that I'm not alone. And it's hard to hear, that someone loves you and that you've made an impact on their life and in what way. I tried to allow myself some kind of vulnerability and take that in and see what she was saying was precious and important, because at least for me, when I'm depressed, a big part of me just wants to block it all out. That's not true, you know.
Yeah.
So that was important for me. And she runs a depression group, a support group up in Sacramento. And because of COVID-19, it's going to be online. So she's invited me, and I'm gonna join that on Wednesday, and I'm hoping that will help me feel something about myself better than what I'm feeling right now.
I think that's a great plan. And I think that's a great
Yeah.
idea. And I'm really incredibly glad that you've taken the initiative to reach out from such a dark place. That's always the hardest part. When you fall into that deep, dark pit, when nothing seems to be worth it and everything around you is tasteless. It's without substance. It's without anything that makes you want to breathe, let alone live your life. It's it's almost impossible to even consider the idea of reaching out or talking to someone, or hell, even admitting it to yourself that these feelings, this darkness that's overwhelming you, it's not true. It's not there. It's not who you actually are. You want to believe that there's nothing out there that deserves you, that you are just this loathsome creature. But that's not the case. It never is. It's never truly the case, at least. It's it's echoes of the past that we cannot shut out as easily as some people can. But they are still the past. They are not who we are. They are not who we are trying to be. And they're not who we are going to be in the future. It's what I've been telling myself over and over. The medication has been helping with that because I'm less likely to indulge in those kind of dark feelings. It's difficult to silence those thoughts, even with medication, even with therapy, which
Yeah.
you're still going through a lack of health insurance, right?
Yeah, I don't have health
Yeah.
insurance, so I don't have a therapist.
Yeah. It's difficult enough even with the tools, let alone going without them. And that is in and of itself already just I'm glad that you have been dealing as well as you have been for this last year and some change, but it's okay. It's okay to feel what you're feeling right now. And it's not going to be there forever. And I know you know that. deep down, it's in there. Because you've told me that time and time again. And even though I tell myself those things and I usually echo back, shut up. It's not true. I'm gonna be fucking miserable the rest of my life. It's not. We're not. We're just gonna make it through this. And you've got your friends who are here to support you. You've got the ones who are going to listen. And you're going to make it out. You're going to be okay. And
I'm
suffice it to
trying not to
say.
sniffle in the microphone.
Well, suffice it to say, you mean an incredibly... I can't even speak, so... You mean an incredible deal to me.
Thank
I
you.
love you with all of my heart. You are wonderful. You deserve love. You deserve to not feel like this. And that's going to be the case one day. Even if we have to drag you kicking and screaming to make you feel that way.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It is a difficult time right now. We are all experiencing this global scenario of nightmares. And that's not even including the things that were already difficult in our lives to begin with. Those things did not go away overnight, most likely. And we're still just grasping in the darkness. But sometimes we just have to live in the dark for a while. Just do what we can.
And something my friend said that has been sticking with me is regardless of how you feel about your financial state or your status, maybe you're feeling not so great about all that. Right now, we're watching society change and we're watching those things fall away, and they just don't matter. And what matters right now are the relationships we've forged, how empathetic we are, because that's the most important thing, is how much we come together as a community. And I really suggest and urge, if any of you are struggling right now, there are all kinds of things that are popping up for resources.
Yes.
And I know that there are resources that are happening right now that wouldn't be available before because it would require you to show up in person. I know there's some instructors who are doing free classes and free therapy sort of situations for free, which would normally cost because they're just bored. So I'm going to try to take full advantage of those things. And it's hard when you can't focus and you're feeling like garbage. And it's strange when throughout a day you can feel okay and then sink really low and back and forth like a yo-yo. But I encourage you to reach out to someone who can be loving and empathetic, even if that person isn't necessarily close to you on a day-to-day. Sometimes the people who are going to be the most supportive and the most able to help aren't the ones who are your closest friends necessarily.
Yeah.
But people who are strong, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's sometimes in the most unlikely of places.
Yeah. We thought about doing a happier podcast, an uplifting one, but we thought we'd be more straightforward with you folks.
Yeah,
Maybe you guys could empathize where we are.
if anything, right now, I personally, I feel trying to look at the good in the world and feeling, there's definitely a place and a time for that. I would feel disingenuous, personally. And I know that, when you're in a deep, dark depression, it's way difficult to try and look at those happy thoughts.
Yeah.
So
You don't feel much when you think of happy thoughts. Sometimes you need other people to give you a happy thought. So we recommend you reach out. And if you don't have someone that you can contact us. And we're not obviously your close friends, but we will send you a happy thought from our heart.
Yes, please reach out to us. We love hearing from you. If you are going through a hard time right now, you know, even just shooting us a message saying, hey, times are tough right now. Just need somebody to listen. We'll listen. We're we're not going anywhere. we'll
Yeah,
take we'll
we'd like
take
to
some
be a
breaks every
resource.
now and then. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
but we'll come back. So, either way, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about, Linz, or how you feeling now?
I'm glad I was able to share with you guys. There is one big thing that happened. We were going to record last week, and I just wanted to mention this. This will probably be its own episode. But
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend who was very young and he drank too much and he died last week. He was an online friend, and that has propped up its own bag of issues. So I'm sure some of you know what that's like to have online friends that you game with. He was a gamer friend, and
Yeah.
what that kind of brought up. And so I just wanted to, like, if you are having problems with being at home drinking, I know some of my friends who are alcoholics who are recovering are having a hard time being quarantined at home.
Mm-hmm.
Um, please look for some kind of resource, and or reach out to us, and we can, if you just are not in a headspace to do it, I'll do the research and I'll find something for you. So thank you so much for listening to this episode. We hope that you are well toilet papered in your home and everything is going well.
As for us, follow us on Instagram at HAYHU Podcast, like the Facebook page, subscribe to the subreddit. If you want to support us directly, visit our Patreon. We're going to be doing something really soon that I think will be kind of fun on that. So we'll get back to you on that. If you want to send us something directly, go ahead and email mailbag@howareyoholdingup.com.
And as always, don't
Don't
tell
tell
us
us
to
to
just
just
get
get
over
over
it.
it.
Okay, so the bear is back, so I have to go outside.
Okay. Love you. Bye.